Should civilians own things like modern fighting weapons and body armor and ballistic helmets and night vision? Let's talk about it. So the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, was designed to protect our freedoms of the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, of religion, of worship, those kinds of things. And a lot of questions have come up. What about the gear or the equipment that goes along with modern fighting weapons? And I'm really grateful for TA Targets for bringing up this issue. And so what I want to talk about is really the reasons why maybe you should consider buying not only modern fighting weapons like this AR-15 here, but also the equipment or the gear that goes along with it, because that gear really falls under the purview or the umbrella of the Second Amendment. And there's several reasons why I think we should consider as citizens, as civilians, purchasing things like this. So over the last 25 years, we've seen a proliferation of modern fighting weapons like this AR-15 and even stuff like body armor or nods or helmets, that kind of stuff. And for a lot of folks that were in the military, and I was in the military, this is somewhat normal to see. But for the regular citizen, civilian out there, they're probably looking at this proliferation and this normalization even of gear and equipment like this, and they're wondering why. And so what I want to do is answer that question. Why should you consider having this? Well, I think there's several reasons. And I think one of them is that the more that citizens and the more citizens that have this kind of equipment and gear and weapons, the more that it is a deterrent against tyranny. Now, there's a great story that I heard of a old lady that was driving a car, and she gets pulled over by a cop. And the cop comes and the cop looks into the window and he sees a handgun sitting on the center console. He says, you know, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to step out of the car. So she did, and he asked, may I search your vehicle? She said, that's fine. So he started searching the vehicle, glove compartment, and everywhere he looked, he found a firearm. I mean, trunk everywhere. There's firearms everywhere. And he goes to the woman and says, you know, ma'am, I found all these firearms, handguns and ARs, everything all over your vehicle. What are you scared of? And she says, absolutely nothing. And I think there's something true about that statement, that I think it is a deterrent against tyranny, against the encroachment of government on citizens. And you're thinking, well, that would never happen. Well, it's happened in every generation. Maybe not in our country in every generation, but the reason I think it hasn't happened in our country to the degree that I think some would like it to happen, like the banning of weapons and really the taking away of our rights and freedoms as citizens of the United States. The more that some want to take away those rights that we have, then I think they're met with the proliferation of these kinds of weapons. They realize they can't do really anything about it. I mean, there's tens of millions of AR and similar platforms out there on the market today and in citizens' hands today. And that is a big deterrent against the overreach of a tyrannical government. So that's one big thing. Of course, the other big one is just self-defense. And I know I want to protect myself, I want to protect my family, I want to protect my community. And so to have modern fighting weapons, I'm able to do that better. And I think it also takes that community, and we'll get into that in another video. But, and so a couple things here. With the modern fighting weapons that you would find, I think, not only under the purview of the Second Amendment, you would have also all the gear that is associated with it. So like for example, this helmet, this is a Premier body armor Ballistic. This is the Fortis helmet. It's a 3A ballistic helmet. And they sent this to me for review, and we're about to do a review here of this next couple weeks. So stay tuned for that. But you got some, I got some night vision on here, which is PBS 14, AGM PBS 14 on here, and some ears, that kind of stuff. But to have something like this in your kit seems like it's overboard. It's strange. It's an overkill for something like this. But that's the reason is that we want to make this more normal in the hands of everyday citizens. We want citizens to be able to protect themselves and their families, their communities from threats, and to have something like, now, none of this stuff is cheap. So you have to, factor that in, and you don't want to just go into a bunch of debt buying gear And we don't want to be just collectors. We want to be people that are actually training with this stuff as well. But like something like body armor, or even like on this this AR here, to have a suppressor on the end, to have IR, infrared, on there, so you can actually use this at night and see what you are shooting, your intended target. It's one of the 4 basic rules of firearm safety. So anyway, I think these are really primary reasons. Of course, you can think of other reasons to have some of this gear, like hunting at night, things like that, of course. But really, it's on us as citizens to prepare and defend ourselves. And even, I think people are like, yeah, you're just crazy, Brian. Something like that, it could never happen in our country. There's never going to be any kind of revolution again. There's never going to be any kind of, I don't know, national disaster, EMP strike, looting, marauders. Nothing will ever happen bad. I hope it doesn't. I really pray that it doesn't. But we also want to be prepared and be prepared to defend ourselves and our families and our communities. So that's why. And so I would love to see more guys not only get the equipment, the gear that goes along with modern fighting weapons like this AR here, but also to train with it. I recommend Warrior Poet Society. I've done training with them. Fantastic organization, in my opinion. And so it's not just getting gear and thinking you're good. I would rather have someone that has just low quality kind of budget type gear, but is really good at it, at using it, has been trained in using it, is safe in using it, than someone who has like just the super nice equipment, the top of the line everything, and doesn't know how to use it or work with it. I would rather have the first guy for sure. So that's really the why of this. And I'm going to have future videos talking about some of this stuff in particular and why I chose what I did here. But guys, I want you to really consider this. Maybe even budget this in. And even now, if you go to ranges, gun ranges today, you're going to see a lot more of this kind of gear and equipment. And I'm really happy to see that. If we did not have not only the weapons, but also the gear that goes along with it, then we are simply at the mercy of whoever's in power. And I, for one, do not want to be in that position. So guys, hope this has been helpful. And if you have thoughts or comments, please drop those down below. But if you've not already done so, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. We do really appreciate you and your support for us. And we'll see you on the next video.